Is Becky Lynch leaving the WWE? In my personal opinion, yes and no. A lot of talk about Becky Lynch this week as she did drop her women's championship to Liv Morgan in Saudi Arabia. Then this past Monday on Raw, the two of them had a cage match, which saw Liv Morgan retaining with a little bit of an assist from Dominic, and the two even shared a kiss in the eye away that apparently USA Network missed, but we all did see it on social media, and that left fans wondering what the future for Becky is. Now, reportedly, her contract is up on June 1st. At least that's what the reports are. There have been a lot of reports recently in the past few weeks and months about Becky Lynch's contract status and situation, and the fact that she has not yet re-signed a new deal with WWE. Now, her husband, Seth Rollins, did re-up with the company a couple of months ago, and most people were expecting and believing that Becky Lynch would as well. But now that we have basically reached her contract expiration date, it feels like we are going to get this thing expired before she re-signs. So I believe Becky Lynch will be leaving WWE for a little while. Does that mean I believe she's leaving WWE for AEW? No, I don't. I would be very, very surprised. Now, granted, anything is possible. We don't live Becky Lynch's life. We don't know what her personal and professional aspirations truly are, but since she has not re-signed, it at least makes me think that she wants to test the market or test the waters. And honestly, if you're a business person, that's the smartest business move for you to make. Even if you know and you're nearly certain you're going to be re-signing with WWE, it's at least worth it to hear Tony Khan out. And if you're still under contract, that means no offers can currently be made to you, because that would be considered tampering. So if Becky Lynch wants to hear what AEW has to say, even if she has no real true intention of signing with them, but she'd at least like to get an offer made to her, then she's going to have to wait for her contract to expire to get any of those negotiations done. So maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe Becky Lynch has a personal desire to be the highest paid woman in the industry, and if she gets an offer from AEW, I have a feeling she's going to get that. Now, I don't know what the motivations for Becky is. I don't know if it's all financial or if it's schedule or what it could be, but I've always believed that Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins have made such careers and legacies for themselves in the WWE that they're going to be WWE for life. Now, granted, a lot of wrestlers do get the itch and the urge to spread their wings outside of the WWE umbrella. Totally understandable. Danielson, Copeland, Mercedes, lots of other talents have kind of had these motivations to go elsewhere and apply their craft, and I can appreciate that. And Becky Lynch certainly comes off as someone who is like that as well. I believe Becky Lynch could also have some Hollywood and movie deal possibilities in her future if she wanted to explore that. I still truly, in my heart of hearts, believe that she's going to be sticking around WWE. Leaving WWE for AEW would mean a lot of things. It would mean separation from her husband, Seth Rollins, who's going to remain in WWE. And not that that would be a deal breaker. There's spouses and husbands and wives and boyfriends and girlfriends and even siblings across both companies. But Becky and Seth being such a huge part of WWE, traveling together, having their kid with them, I think, splitting up that family might not be something they want to do. But then again, if the money is right and the schedule is right, it might be doable. One thing I never want to do on this channel is try to speak for someone else. All I can do is speculate and think and wonder what it would be like if I was in their shoes. But I'm never going to be telling any talents what they should or should not do with their lives and with their careers. But with Becky Lynch, my assumption, my belief, my feeling, my gut instinct tells me that she will not leave WWE. But if Becky Lynch wants to be, if she has the desire to be the highest paid woman in the business, if she still has bad feelings with Charlotte, and those are things that are important to her. And we see that in sports. We've seen that in wrestling, egos and whatnot. People sometimes want to make more than their rivals. I don't think that way. I don't care about that type of stuff. I just want to make enough money to support myself and be comfortable. I don't give a shit what anyone else around me is making. But when you're in a profession like Becky's, that could play into it. And if she really wants to position herself as being the top dollar woman in the industry, she has an excellent chance to do that now with her contract coming up. So if I had to take some random educated guesses, If I'm in Becky Lynch's shoes, I'm going to let my contract lapse. I might even be telling WWE officials, Triple H and everybody else, look, I'm coming back to you, but I got to at least hear what they have to say. Don't I? Wouldn't I be foolish if I didn't at least hear them out? Even though there's virtually no chance of me going there, I got to at least explore other companies and see what AEW and Tony Khan might give me. Now, Tony Khan has got a lot of money and he's got a lot more ability to spend that money freely than WWE does now, because now they're under the TKO and Endeavor umbrella, and they might not just be able to throw millions at somebody just to keep them away from the competition. I'm not sure how all of that has changed in WWE since the Vince McMahon departure and since the merger with the UFC. Not that WWE has any lacking of funds. They have plenty of money to match anything AEW and Tony Khan offer, but do they want to get in the habit of that? For example, if Tony Khan offers Becky a ridiculous amount of money, like a stupidly large amount of money, WWE then is going to have to match that if they want to keep her. Like, think about back in 1996 when Razor Ramon and Diesel left WWE, and everybody was leaving WWE back in those days for all of the money in WCW. That's what's interesting about this time compared to the 90s, is that now both companies financially can match each other. Vince McMahon could not match the wallet of Ted Turner back in the 90s. WWE now, they're in the driver's seat with all the billions of dollars, but now they've got this other wrestling promoter and owner out there who's also a billionaire that doesn't have the confines in the handcuffs of a corporate umbrella, and he can just spend whatever the F he wants. So if he's willing to give Becky Lynch a stupidly huge contract, where is the line with WWE? Where's the line where they said, look, we cannot pay you that, Becky, because if we do, that means the money's going to go up for everybody else. So think about how that would have been in the 90s if Vince McMahon was able to match WCW's offer for Razor Ramon and Diesel. Imagine what that would have done to the pay scale across the board in wrestling. So it does make you wonder, if Becky Lynch does receive some record-breaking offer, the trickle-down effect that this could have on all the talent. Now, that's going to mean more money for everybody else, and that's great, but I am not sure if, how deep the pettiness runs between the two companies. Would Tony Khan be the type of guy to throw Becky a crazy offer just so WWE has to pony up a bunch of money to answer to match it? Could he actually care that much to do that? I would not be playing around with that many millions of dollars and with other people's careers just to stick it to the other brand. But we have seen, at least back in the 90s with the WWE and WCW war, back in those days, companies were absolutely signing people for the sole purpose of keeping them away from the competition. And WWE was doing that a lot too. Remember a few years ago when they were just sweeping through everybody and just collecting up all the talent? They were collecting it all so nobody else could have them. I don't know if Tony Khan might be saying to himself, you know what, I'm going to throw a crazy offer at Becky. She might turn me down, but she's at least going to force WWE now to pay her a crazy amount, which might cause some problems in their locker room with their morale. I mean, I don't know if that's what he's thinking, but beyond that, you would absolutely want Becky Lynch on your roster. Imagine if Becky was there, along with Mercedes. You already got Tony Storm there. Britt Baker comes back. Thunder Rosa. You do not have a bad women's division at all in that company anymore. Even after losing Jade and whatnot, they are still pretty strong. Adding Becky to that mix would be amazing. Now, I cannot envision Becky Lynch in AEW. I just can't. She would have to be Rebecca Quinn, kind of a new thing going on, new music, obviously, basically doing the same thing that Mercedes Moné is doing. And if Becky Lynch came in and the two of them formed like an Outsiders NWO women's version, Becky and Mercedes, or Rebecca and Mercedes coming in as the Outsiders, together and forming a new women's order. I don't know. Could be fun, but I'm trying to envision Becky coming into the ring in AEW with music, with her name. It's going to be a completely different presentation. And if I'm someone who's building my pro wrestling legacy, if I'm building my career and my body of work, it sucks that WWE gives you a gimmicked name that they can own and keep. It sucks that that's the way it is. But Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins both, unfortunately for them, unlike the CM Punks and a few others who have not had to change their names, they would have to if they ever left the company. Some people changing their names doesn't bother them. Didn't bother Sasha Banks. So maybe Becky Lynch doesn't give a shit about changing the name, but I would. You know, if that's my whole legacy and everybody knows me as that, trying to rebrand myself would be a little bit difficult, especially if you're jumping to a company that's struggling compared to the company you currently work in. You know, WWE's crushing it right now. You know, if I'm a piece of wrestling talent, that's where I'm looking to go. 3 years ago, I was looking to go to AEW, but the tide has shifted. It could shift again, but right now it's in WWE's favor. So Becky Lynch is already a, WrestleMania Hall of Famer. I'm sorry, a WrestleMania main eventer, I should say. She's won multiple world championships in the company. One could argue that she has done all that she can do in WWE. That's a fair argument. She's done a lot. She already has a Hall of Fame career if she retires tomorrow. She absolutely does. So she could want to explore doing something else. And that's understandable as well. It's also possible that she might just take a little break. I think her and Seth Rollins both are long overdue for a nice, healthy, good break. Stay home with your beautiful daughter and just rest up. And then come back later on in the year, maybe even at the end of the year. Royal Rumble time. I'd like to get Rollins back before then, but I think with Becky, I'd have no problem with her just taking the rest of the year off, sitting at home, being a mom. Imagine the weight of her return when she comes back. Because if Becky Lynch re-signs with WWE, I don't think it's a good idea for her just to show back up in June. I think she needs to be off for a while. Maybe even miss the SummerSlam payday. Hate to say that, but, keep her off for a while. Maybe she even tells WWE, hey, I'm not going to resign, but I'm coming back to you. Give me 6 months. We'll stay in constant contact. I'll be on the bus with Seth when he's here. Sometimes you'll see me. I'll be around. I'm not going anywhere, but I don't want to put pen to paper on anything right now. Let me just have the break. So she can explore outside interests without having to worry about WWE cock blocking her on anything. She could also listen to offers from AEW, from New Japan, any other wrestling promotion that might want to use her. Maybe she wants to just take a year away. Maybe she doesn't want to sign with AEW necessarily, but maybe she wants to make an Impact appearance. Go wrestle a New Japan match or something, I don't know, on a pay-per-appearance deal. Those are going around right now. Jordynne Grace is coming into NXT to work 3 dates for like 6 figures, and she's still under contract to TNA. That's really cool. That is really cool that things like that are happening. So, maybe Becky wants to do a little bit of that, but ultimately is coming back to the company. Or maybe she wants to position herself to make more money than Charlotte Flair. It's very possible if there's still some animosity and bad blood there between those women, and Becky Lynch knows that Charlotte is the, one of the cornerstones along with herself in the women's division in WWE. And she knows Charlotte has always been, the top star, the highest paid athlete for the women in the company. At least I've always assumed she was. This is her opportunity now, especially if she leverages herself against AEW to score a huge WWE deal. So whatever the future holds for Becky Lynch, we here on the channel wish her luck. We're big Becky Lynch fans, as we are Seth Rollins. Think they're both great. And if they both have complete, full careers, 20-plus year careers in WWE and go into the Hall of Fame, I'd be perfectly satisfied as a fan. But if Becky wants to spread her wings, go do the Mercedes Moné thing, I totally understand that as well. It just, I'm trying to envision a scenario where she's in AEW, separated from Rollins, separated from her family. They might have all this worked out between them already. And like I said, it's none of our business. I'm just trying to envision how that would work for them. So we will keep our eye on this situation, but I have a feeling we will not be seeing Becky Lynch in the WWE for several months. I think she will inevitably come back, whether that's a surprise return, an advertised return, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, maybe even WrestleMania. If I'm Becky Lynch, I would just not re-sign until WrestleMania and then just book myself in a big attraction match there, something like that, and get a big, big major match, maybe against a Charlotte or somebody else coming back, something that'll just pop you and be like, whoa, holy shit. So I think that's another cool thing about whenever you have to take time off for any reason, whether it's contract stuff or, sometimes more unfortunate stuff like injuries, it always makes the anticipation of your return a lot of fun. So Becky now has a chance to, without being injured, to manufacture that, and she could come back and make a huge splash down the road in either company. But if I had to bet, if you're forcing me to put money down on this issue, I'm betting that Becky Lynch eventually returns to WWE. Thanks for listening. Peace.